All right. Welcome to the Compadre System. I'm Jake Berry alongside Clay Williams. How you doing, Clay?
Doing great, Jake. How about you on a Wednesday night?
I'm okay. I'm hoping that this system works out. It's the first time that we've been able to get this going for the Compadre system, so hopefully that works out.
Yeah, man. Should be good. Wirecast
I'm okay. I'm okay.
usually works well for us, I think. We'll be good to go. You ready to talk a little sports
Well, yeah.
and
I mean,
other things?
yeah. If you want to talk about anything else, we can talk about that too. But yeah. Let's talk. What's first up on the agenda?
On the agenda tonight of the Compadre system, first off, let's talk high school softball playoffs because last week we had 9 teams remaining, and now we've got 5 teams left in the softball playoffs as we get to the regional quarterfinals round. And we are guaranteed one team will make it to the regional semifinals because we've got a Valley versus Valley matchup, Edinburgh-Vella taking on Harlingen South. Now, that should be a doozy. That should be a good one. That's a one-gamer, too, by the way. That one's going to be at Harlingen South on Friday night. So Coach Elias Martinez getting the favorable flip one more time, just like he always does. He always flips for home, right? He always flips to play at home, and sometimes he gets it.
Yeah, and he doesn't have much experience in the playoffs, so we'll see how he does. But it's interesting because a lot of coaches don't like the one gamer, but when you have a stud, you roll with your studs. It takes a lot of confidence to go into those one game playoffs. A lot of coaches want to go 3 just to be safe.
Yeah, but if you're confident in your team, or if you've only got one real pitcher with a lot of experience, then sometimes you're going to go for the one gamer. What would this mean for? Let's just say Coach Martinez wins this game and he wins a couple more and he makes it to state. What would you say about a guy who coached 2 different Valley teams to the state tournament? What would be his legacy then if that were to happen?
I think if that happens, you're an all-time great. I mean, you're in the RGV Hall of Fame automatically. He probably should be in it already. But you're talking state level right there, especially bringing teams from down here. Not that there's like the knock against, but traditionally, this isn't our forte. But you have to give it up for that. You put him at the state level, and really, you have to wonder why other teams around the state aren't looking at him and saying, "I want him to start my program or run my program."
Yeah, you could look at it that way, but does that happen a lot? I mean, that happens, I guess, in football coaches and some big-time basketball coaches, but do you see a whole lot of softball coaches making the big move, going up to DFW or Houston? That doesn't happen that often, or even, not just from here, but from West Texas or the Panhandle or East Texas. Softball is not one of those sports in high school level where you see coaches making huge moves. If you're a great softball coach and you've established a great program, chances are you're going to stay there or close by there. What Coach Martinez has done, just going from San Benito to Harlingen South, I mean, chances are you're just going to stick around, right?
Money talks. So in those up north you can make some good money.
Yeah, but how many programs are willing to spend big money on a softball coach, right?
Yeah.
Because they're all willing to spend big money on a football coach, but you rarely see any programs that are willing to spend big money for a softball coach or, sometimes for even a basketball coach or a baseball coach. Some places it's just football. Some places it's, like Corpus Christi, they're willing to spend big money to bring, baseball coaches down. But you don't hear about it much in softball.
What the one thing is down here, it only takes one parent to either make you want to leave or one parent to want to buy your services. So,
Right.
let's be realistic. Things are handled sometimes underneath the table. So, you can run a camp and make some good money. So
Yeah, no, it's true. It's definitely true. You definitely can. Let's talk about the other, teams that are still up. San Benito, still alive. They're taking on Eagle Pass in a 3-game series, best of 3-game series that starts Friday night and continues through Saturday at St. Mary's University in San Antonio. And so those are our 3 6A teams that are left. San Benito, Edinburgh-Vella, Harlingen South. 5A, we've got one team left. That's Brownsville Veterans. They'll take on Corpus Christi Carroll. They've got game 1 at home on Friday night, and then they'll go to game 2 at Cabinets Field on Saturday afternoon. And our Final 4A team, no surprise, one of the perennial favorites here in the Valley, Rio Hondo. It seems like they make it to the regional quarterfinals at least every year, and they're taking on Cuero at Toloso Midway Friday night, Saturday afternoon in a best-of-3 game series. But what's even more interesting to me is how these teams got here. It was not easy. San Benito had 7-run 6th inning in order to get a win. They were down until the 6th inning, had 7 runs in the 6th. Harlingen South had to get a walk-off 2-run home run from Cristina Ariano. They were down 1 run in the bottom of the 7th and had to get a walk-off in order to make it. Rio Hondo won 13-12 on a walk-off over Divine. Our teams they're getting it done, but they're getting it done in quite exciting fashion. Not exactly where you want to go if you've got heart problems to any of the Valley softball games.
You look at it from like the coaching perspective. I remember, coaches telling me when I was playing and then when I was coaching is that luck favors the prepared. And these girls, they play enough softball all year. They're in situations with their coaches all year. They play tough softball. Those tough games actually mean something down the stretch.
Yeah, and these are the kind of games that show whether you've got what it takes to make it all the way to state or not, and we'll definitely find out about that. Brownsville Veterans, Rio Hondo, San Benito, and then, of course, like we said, Edinburgh Vela will take on Harlingen South 1 game on Friday night, so we are guaranteed at least 1 more week of high school softball here in the Rio Grande Valley, which I'm happy about. How about you? I mean, we're kind of used to it now, right?
Yeah.
We never used to have any teams at any kind of state. Then we got used to boys soccer teams going to state and Porter and Lopez and Hidalgo and Sherryland and winning and, and Hannah and Rivera and all that kind. And we got used to it. Now we're kind of used to softball teams going, right? We're kind of used to, Weslaco, San Benito making it to state. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw another team go. Wouldn't surprise me if, whoever comes out of, Region 4 would be a Valley team. We've got 3 left there. Wouldn't surprise me if Rio Hondo went on to the next level as well. That would be great for Coach Brett Esparza and that Rio Hondo Lady Cat team.
Yeah, I like it when I can buy a game on NFHS at the state level. I finally get to watch some good streaming media, games. I want to see those. I want to see those games because that means that our teams have made it to the state finals. And also it adds some validity to what these programs down here have been trying to do, which is develop state-level programs.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And good luck to all the teams. And I might go see that Vela Harlingen South game. It's right down the street from me. So that'd be a fun one to watch, especially since it's a 1-gamer. That's the other thing, too. When it's a 1-gamer, you're seeing everything. A 3-gamer, you gotta put in a little more time. But, hey, speaking of time, it is time for the Eastern and Western Conference Finals in NBA playoff basketball. I see a little NBA happening behind you in the screen, so I know you've been watching. But there it is. We're all set.
Oh, that's Europe right there. That's European basketball. So.
All right, I saw Brad Stevens on there earlier, so he was doing a little post game because the Celtics won tonight, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now the both conference finals are set. The Celtics get rid of the 76ers, which is a big surprise to a lot of people. A, because a lot of people had anointed the 76ers as the next big thing, and B, because the Celtics are without their 2 best players. Mm-hmm. Without their, not just one, they're without their 2 best players, and somehow they are getting this done. It's really incredible.
Yeah, you got to say one thing about Brad Stevens, and I saw that Coach Popovich from the Spurs, knock it off. No more of that.
I'm sorry.
All right, but Coach Popovich from the Spurs likes watching Brad Stevens out of bounds plays. And they're superb. I mean, some people are saying that he's the best coach in the NBA, and what he's done there. He left Butler when they were on top, and took a position with the Celtics when they were trash, and he's really turned that program around, and they're winning with defense and Jason Tatum from Duke.
And Jaylen Brown.
And Al Horford, who has the worst jumper probably since Sean Marion. He's got a horrible jumper, but it goes in. He plays hard. He's that guy. You just wonder how the hell it goes in, but it does.
What's incredible to me, look at the point guard thing, right? Okay, so Brad Stevens takes Isaiah Thomas, who was a very good player before he got to Boston, and turns him into an all-star and an MVP candidate. Isaiah Thomas leaves Boston, and now he's fallen off the map. So Kyrie Irving comes. All right, we know Kyrie Irving's good before he ever gets to Boston, and Brad Stevens uses him to his utmost. But then Kyrie Irving's gone. So what does he do? He takes the next guy up, Terry Rozier, Scary Terry, and turns him into a guy who looks like an all-star. It looks to me like, Cornbread Maxwell could come off the bench and play for Brad Stevens the way he coaches. It's really incredible that the Celtics have been able to do this without Hayward and without Irving. It's amazing.
Yeah, he could get Adam Morrison back into the league and make him a productive NBA player. So, but his system works. Just like Greg Popovich's system works, except for Kawhi Leonard. But it works for everybody else. Brad Stevens' offense and defense works great with the personnel that he's brought in. So him and Danny Ainge, who a lot of people knocked, but he's made some masterful trades since he's been in Boston.
Oh, it's incredible. Ainge got Kyrie to Boston. That's amazing. But now they're going up against the King. And, I mean, the King is almost averaging a triple-double. All right? Hey, you can roll your eyes at LeBron, and I don't like him either. I say I don't like him. I like to watch him.
Yeah.
What's he averaging, 34, 9, and 9 in the playoffs? I mean, that's like Wilt Chamberlain numbers. That's like, Michael Jordan on steroids numbers. That's just – it's incredible. It's unbelievable.
I just want to point this out, and actually, I like LeBron. I have a pair of shoes of his. Today's basketball is not, and look, it's not 90s basketball. It's not 80s basketball. It's a lot more athletic, but he could never get away with the crap he has now back then, because he doesn't go. Back in the day, look at all the fights and things of that sort. They would just let happen.
LeBron, yeah. I've heard it. Yeah, it's all the enforcers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Charles Oakley would throw an elbow and LeBron would be out. Have you seen? LeBron's bigger now than Charles Oakley ever was.
Oh, I know, but what I'm saying is, though, but he plays.
I think
he looks like Tarzan but he flops like Jane.
Well, he finesses because that's the way the referees call it and because that's the way the NBA wants it. But you don't think he could play in the 90s against the Knicks?
I don't think he likes
against the Heat?
I don't think he likes to take the hits. And look, I'll be real honest with you. I go and I play at the rec at UTRGV every once in a while. And
I cannot wait to hear how you're going to compare your rec league games to LeBron, because this
pretty much, yeah. Anyways, but like kids nowadays, they can't take a hit. They're real sissies about it. There's hand checking. You can't do like Mark Jackson used to do, with the arm bar in the back. Or you can't dribble down and put your butt into a guy and dribble all the way from the 3-point line to the block and then make a move. Basketball's a lot different. I will say this: LeBron is, to me, the third best player ever. I put him behind Kobe, and I hate Kobe. I don't like rapists. But
you got Kobe second.
Well, I'm talking about if I had
blazes do you have Wilt or Russell?
Okay, I'm gonna be real honest with you. That's where I get into the basketball was different before the 3-point line.
Yeah. All right. Here's my point. Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes, things are much different now than they were. Yes, there is a lot more finesse, a lot less hitting. Yes, that would make a big difference for players like, I don't know, Steph Curry, like players like maybe even Donovan Mitchell, players like Kyrie Irving. What I'm telling you,
not Kyrie.
You don't think okay?
He went to Duke.
Fine. Not even Kyrie Irving. Okay. Oh, God almighty, if I have to hear another Dookie. All right, but anyway, it would affect players like Steph Curry because, like Charles Barkley says, you knock him down if he's knocking him down, okay? But it wouldn't affect LeBron. LeBron could play in this age. He can play in any age because he is a physical marvel, because he is the size of Karl Malone, but yet has the athleticism of Michael Jordan and the handles of, I don't know, Dennis Johnson.
And the flopping of Vlade Divac.
Hey, he flops because they call it. If they didn't call it, he wouldn't flop. And he wouldn't need to flop either. LeBron's different. LeBron could play in any single era. Doesn't matter. He could play with Wilt. He could play in the 70s He can play against the Doctor. He can play against any of them because that's just who LeBron is. No, there's no other superstar that plays right now who I'll say that about either. I would not say that about Kevin Durant. I don't know if his kind of physique would stand up to 90s basketball. I really don't. But LeBron, I think it would. So who you got? Cavaliers, Celtics.
Cavaliers, Celtics. I'm gonna give it to the Cavs because I really want them to do well in the finals. They're gonna get killed in the finals, but yeah, I picked the Cavs to beat the Celtics.
If the Cavs make the finals, is this the worst team LeBron has ever dragged to the finals? Is this the worst? Is this worse than the 06 Cavs, where all he had were guys like Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Delonte West?
Don't forget Anderson Varejao.
And Anderson Varejao. Yeah.
No, look, I'll say this, and I didn't know this until I saw God, I don't want to say his name. Skip Bayless said it, but
God.
But he played with Dwayne Wade, who averaged over 25 points a game in the finals. Kyrie Irving, 28 points in a game when he was in the finals. And you think about this: if it wasn't for Ray Allen hitting the three against San Antonio, and I can't remember who was the other player that hit the big shot. He'd only have one title, in the finals. He's been very lucky to have some big shots by other guys. Because I will say this: until this year, I never really saw him hit big shots in big moments. Because he always deferred. He deferred to Kyrie against Golden State, and I think now again, with this team, I don't think you can trust Kyle Korver or Kevin Love to hit the game winner. I think they're great players, but I don't want them taking the shots.
Yeah, well, I mean, Michael Jordan had to defer to Steve Kerr and John Paxson, so I mean, we've seen it happen before. But yeah, I gotta. Man, I can't bet against LeBron in this. Brad Stevens has done some magic, but he's done some magic against, the 76ers team that's never made it this far before. And I can't remember who the Celtics play in the first round. Was it the Heat? It was the Heat, wasn't it?
No.
The 76ers played the Heat. I can't remember who the Celtics played. Must have been, who else was in the East? I can't remember. Not the Hawks. Not the.
Oh, Milwaukee.
Not the Pistons. Oh, that's right. Okay, so you got two teams that have never been that far in the playoffs that Brad Stevens was able to coach him up against. So, LeBron takes this team past the Celtics. Well, then he should have, and it's maybe the worst team he's taken to the finals. But he's also going up against a Celtics team that's without their top two players, and Brad Stevens is only reach into the top hat and pull out so many rabbits.
I actually don't think this Cavs team is that bad.
Really?
I don't. I think George Hill has experience. I think that you got what's his face from the Lakers, Jordan Clarkson.
Where's Jordan Clarkson been though? Man?
Yeah, well, but Larry Nance Jr. is pretty good for what he does. LeBron doesn't want to pass to anybody unless he doesn't want to defer to anybody, but he'll pass it to you if you're open. Those guys they're role players, and that's what he wants.
Well, I mean, how tough is it that Rodney Hood said he didn't want to come in the game, man? I mean, how do you let a guy stay on your team without suspending him for a game or two? When he just refuses to come in the game and blow out in garbage time.
You can't blame that on Duke there because he went to Mississippi State. So before that, so you blame that on that.
All right, enough. 6 Duke references is too much. Let's move on to Rockets Warriors. This is the one everybody's been wanting to see. They're both healthy. The Rockets have looked like sometimes the new-look Warriors this year. The Rockets have got home court advantage, but the Warriors look like they're peaking. They put in that Hampton 5 lineup the other day with Curry and Clay and Durant and Iguodala and Draymond, and that thing looked incredible. They're calling it the Megadeth lineup too. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on Houston and Golden State?
I think this series rests on Draymond Green. because
Okay.
I think Chris Paul can lock up Steph Curry right now at this moment. I think they can play to a stalemate.
Yeah.
I think James Harden has the edge on Klay Thompson. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Durant will have his way at the 3 spot, but I think Trevor Ariza will do fine against him. But I think it's going to come down to Draymond Green. If he imposes his way on the Rockets, I think he's the X factor. I hate the guy. He looks like Donkey from Shrek, but but I really hope, and
Do you want to punch him in the face?
I do.
Does he?
Just
Does he make you want to punch him in the face?
me and Chuck. But I like. Look, I got to meet Clint Capella when he was here with the Vipers. Got to do some interviews.
Yep.
He's a nice kid, sweet guy. He's from Sweden or Switzerland. Excuse me.
Switzerland, man.
Switzerland.
Come on.
Yeah. But he's dark chocolate. No. I liked him when he was here. I got along with him. I thought he was a really nice guy. And then he blocks all those shots. He's been the X factor for Houston because remember in the past they didn't really play defense. Dwight Howard was there and he couldn't cover anything. And I think he does exactly what they need. He defends the rim and he dunks when he's open, and that's what you need.
Yeah. I think Clint Capella is the X factor for Houston, and I think Draymond Green is the X factor for Golden State, just like you do. What I wonder about Draymond Green is if Kerr starts playing that Hamptons 5 lineup too much, how much does that tire out Draymond having to play the 5? I mean, how much can you actually play Draymond at the 5 and not wear him out and get the most out of him? That's the thing. To get your 5 best players out there, you got to have Draymond playing center, and I'm not sure that he can last down there with Capella, for more than a handful of minutes. So I think that's going to be something to watch.
That's the thing about Capella, though. He doesn't have low post moves traditionally, like a lot of posts. So it's not like when he's in the post, you're having to like bump him out and get him out of the block because he really has
True, but Draymond will anyway.
Yeah, and because donkeys. I give the edge to Golden State just for the sheer fact that they've been there. Chris Paul this is his first time in this kind of situation. I'm not a Chris Paul fan. I think he's a little jerk, but I think he's a good player. So, but I give the edge to the Warriors.
All right, I'm going to go with Houston because I don't think we've seen the best of James Harden yet. And I think we're going to see the best of James Harden in this series. I think this is what Harden has been waiting for. And I think that he's going to really show up and he's going to take this team and make all of them better. And he's going to penetrate and he's going to kick it out. And Kyle Anderson and Trevor Ariza are going to be there and they will knock down shots, no problem. And they've got home court advantage. So I think it goes 7, but I do think it'll be Houston going to the finals.
Wow. Okay. Well,
so we'll see a Houston-Cleveland final maybe.
Well, we both think Cleveland's going to be there, so we'll see how.
Yeah, we do.
All right. So what's next?
Let's talk Toros soccer. Rio Grande Valley FC. The Toros are in Fresno tonight and have if for anybody who might be watching on ESPN Plus and watching us, well, then you already know that the score is 2-2. The Toros have come from behind to score a couple of goals and tie it up against Fresno on the road. That's huge. Because the Toros are starting to finally look pretty good. They were horrible their first 5 games. They only had six points after 7 games, but now they've had 4 points in their last 2 games. And a lot of that is due to the guy who's the USL goalkeeper of the week, and that's Nico Corti. He has come on really strong in net. You got to see him in this last game, I think, and he's kind of carrying this team right now. I mean, he had to make 6-7 point-blank saves the last game.
Yeah, and this year's team's a lot more competitive than last year's team. I know because I'm always there. I watched the team, and offensively they can be slow to get the engine going, but defensively, because of him, they've been able to stay in games. So I think every game that I've covered at home has been a draw or a win. So I think 1 win. But yeah,
they're in the 89th minute right now in Fresno, and so it's tied 2-2. So they'll go just a little bit of stoppage time, and then maybe the Toros get out of a road game with a draw. That'd be nice. The big game, though, comes up Saturday in Edinburgh. San Antonio FC comes to town for another edition of the South Texas Derby. And what I want to know from you is, why would the British pronounce it Derby when it's actually spelled D-E-R-B-Y? I don't understand it.
Any idea? I'll have to check my schedule. So,
okay.
But yeah,
that'll cover it from A to Z.
Yeah,
so that'll work.
But yeah,
hey,
Sherryland.
San Antonio FC. That's fun. San Antonio FC coming to town is fun.
But who else is coming with them?
Well, Mikey Lopez is coming with him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be the return of Mikey Lopez, Mission's own. The kid who played, he got drafted by Sporting KC to the MLS several years ago, played a couple of years there, played a couple of years with New York City FC, and now he is with San Antonio FC, and now he's going to try and come down and beat his home area team. So that's going to be huge. Mikey Lopez is going to have a lot of supporters there. And Mikey Lopez went to a superior soccer university, of course, because he went, of course, to Chapel Hill, just like his brother Andy. And everybody knows that
you don't have to go to class.
When it comes to Central North Carolina, there's only one school to talk about when it comes to soccer, and that's the Tar Heels. So Mikey Lopez from Mission going to be with San Antonio FC this weekend. That'll be fun.
I know, because the good thing about UNC is that you don't have to take classes while you're there. I'm
sure they have to at Duke. I'm sure they have to, right? Yeah. What, are you going to start another 5 freshmen this year for Krzyzewski? Another 5 freshmen?
No. The best recruiting class.
He's going to get rid of one and done single-handedly, because it's just getting out of hand. But hey, I mean, what do you think? He's got a lot of fans down here. Mikey Lopez is going to bring a lot of people, and he's really going to be trying to stick it to RGVFC, I think.
Well, I know, from being in the booth, one of the guys up in the booth is from Sherryland, and he was talking about this, and he thinks it's going to be a big game as far as, the fans coming in, because, it doesn't happen very often. JJ Avila came for the D-League and now, or G-League, and now Mikey comes for the USL. So it'll be interesting to see how many people come on Saturday.
That'll be fun. I know he's got a lot of family and supporters down here, so looking forward to seeing them. Both teams are out of the playoffs right now. I mean, obviously it's early. It's just May. We've got a couple more months to go, but right now San Antonio's 9th in the Western Conference, RGVFC 14th, but coming on strong. Like I said, 4 points in their last 2 games. I'm interested. What do you know about the RGVFC head coach, the new one, Gerson Echeverry? What do you think of him? What are your thoughts on him so far this year?
Oh, first of all, I pronounced it wrong. It's Gerson.
Really?
It's Gerson. Yeah, Gerson was the guy with Houston. Yeah. And this guy is Gerson. Gerson.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, there's one thing I didn't know.
I got corrected on that. But I think he's done a good job. I mean, defensively the team's pretty good. And like any good sport or any sport, defense is always going to come along first, and then the offense comes along second. And so you just hope that they catch wind later on in the season. So I think he's done a good job since he's been there.
Hey, interesting note that happened today with a former Toro. You remember Charlie Ward, right?
Yeah.
The Brit who played every minute of every game 2 years ago for RGVFC. You remember that? He never came off the field at all, played all 90 minutes every single game. 38 starts with the Toros, 42 matches. They signed him last year, the Dynamo did, but they waived him today. They got rid of him. So Charlie Ward's out there, and he's a free agent. He's played in the Premier League. I don't know if he'll go back to England, but I just thought it was interesting that, Wilmer Cabrera, the former Toros coach, who thought so much of Ward here, that he played him in every single minute of every single game and for a playoff season. And now, as the Dynamo head coach, he just lets him go. I thought that was a little interesting.
Well, he'll probably wind up with San Antonio. So who knows? But no, he'll land on his feet. But I think sometimes familiarity sometimes, might cloud the issue. So, trading him might be better for both of them. So who knows?
Might be. Might be. Hey, talk a little pop culture right now. Sometimes that's movies. Sometimes that's music. Sometimes that's TV. Sometimes it's video games. Are you a Fortnite player?
I actually am.
Aha.
But when I say a player, I'm doing it on the iPad. I have the iPad Pro, and I'm trying to do it on that, which is difficult because all these other guys have short codes. Let's just say I just hide in the bush and try to be the last one. That's all I do. That's all I do is I just hide in the bush, and that's it. And we're talking about games here, by the way, so don't I know it's late, but yeah.
Well, have you seen Thanos yet?
No, I have not.
He's in Fortnite. He's not just in Avengers Infinity War. He's not just the biggest big bad of the biggest movie of the year of the last 10 years. He's also in Fortnite. And I thought that was really cool how the Fortnite guys and the Marvel guys just got together and said, hey, this would be fun. It's obviously going to be what everybody's talking about is Thanos and Infinity War. Why don't we put them in the game? And it was just like, boom, there it was. And Thanos is in Fortnite, and now you got guys running around with Infinity Gauntlets on and trying to make Thanos dance in the in the video game. I mean, it's kind of cool, and I think it's going to be something we see more of from video games as they get closer and closer to from off the fringes of pop culture and really into the mainstream, and try and become how many kids are going to start playing Fortnite now, but just because they heard Thanos was in it? I mean, or how many kids are going to go see Infinity War because they want to see this guy that they played in Fortnite? It's pretty good synergy.
I'm going to be honest with you. That movie had me going. I can't wait for the next one. I got to see it last week, and I'm very sad. Baby Groot died.
Spoiler alert!
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh, by the way, the thing he says to Rocket, he calls him Dad. So just ruined that one too for you. So
when he says "I am Groot" the last time,
yeah,
yes,
I meant Dad. Yeah. So I just ruined that for whoever hasn't seen the movie. Oh, and by the way, pretty much everybody dies. So
Well, that's all right. Mark Ruffalo spoiled it 2 years ago. Have you ever seen that clip?
No.
So here's the deal. Mark Ruffalo and Don Cheadle are at some sort of junket, some sort of comic convention. They're doing a pairs interview. They're on camera. They're being interviewed by somebody off camera. And they're both talking about the next Avengers film, which is Infinity War. And Don Cheadle says, oh, yeah, it's great. It's going to be so different. The fans are really going to love it. And then Mark Ruffalo says, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be unbelievably different. Everybody dies. And Cheadle just looks over at Ruffalo and goes, oh, my God. And then looks off and looks like he wants to be anywhere but that. Basically, Mark Ruffalo spoiled the ending of Infinity War like 2 years ago for anybody who wanted to know.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Did he? Hey, wait. Did he die in the movie? I can't remember. Don Cheadle. Did he die?
Cheadle did
they didn't show him. They didn't show him dying.
No.
All right.
No. I don't think Cheadle dies in it. I don't think Cheadle dies in it. So
yeah,
and I don't think Ruffalo doesn't either.
No.
Most of the
it's because he had the erectile dysfunction during the movie. He couldn't go. Yeah.
And I can't change topics quicker than to tell you that it's a final and RGVFC ties Fresno 2-2. It's a draw out in Central California and the land of the California Raisins. So a big win. Well, I'm sorry, not a big win, but a big point for RGVFC tonight as they get ready to come home for the South Texas Derby with San Antonio FC Saturday night. That should be a lot of fun at the big arena at HEB Park. That'll be fun. Hey, let's talk high school baseball playoffs, shall we? Because we got to the second round. And I noticed something really interesting about the 6A playoffs. So we've got Los Fresnos taking on Mission. We've got Edinburgh Vela taking on Eagle Pass. We've got McAllen taking on PSJA. And we've got Brownsville Hannah taking on Laredo Alexander. Now, if you just hear me say those names, you might not understand how interesting that is, but that's exactly two teams from each of the four districts down here. 29, 30, 31, and 32. Each of them got two teams into the next round. That means there was incredible parity amongst all the 6A districts in all South Texas, between Laredo and the West Valley, the Central Valley, and the Lower Valley. That's I don't know that that's ever happened before. Usually, don't we have like the Laredo district dominates or the 32 dominates, or we usually have a little more domination than that. I've never seen that happen before where you have two from each of the districts.
Yeah, that does show some parity. You know, the one thing I can take away is that you know, McAllen dropped one game in their
Yeah.
series, and I will say this: he didn't have a great day pitching, Aaron Nixon, that day, but he came back the next day and had a home run to put them ahead. You know, it's crazy because you know when you're not challenged enough during the season. I mean, not that Malachi wasn't challenged, but you know, I think that United game kind of refocuses you if you're Mac High. And they're going to need to be refocused because PSJ is going to come in and they didn't play PSJ this year from what I gather this week. And so it'll be an interesting game to see, you know, that matchup. I think that's the most intriguing one because PSJ traditionally is one of the best teams in the Valley. Mac High always is loaded, and they've got Coach Pompa. They've got a stable of players. That game for me, that's my game that I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I want to see as well. Mackay PSJA is definitely the big matchup there. I mean, if you look at it, you think that the winner of that game, those games, is going to go on to, you know, definitely take the next one as well, and perhaps even the next one after that. Mm-hmm. And as we spoke about last week, then you're talking about, you get past that, then you're going up against the winner of Lake Travis and San Antonio Reagan, most likely for the regional championship. And the great thing is whoever makes it out of this is going to play a team that just got done with a really tough game. But now you look at Mac High taking on Laredo United, now taking on PSJA. You know, it looks like it's going to be real tough to get out of this side of the bracket as well.
Yeah, you know, and it's tough because when you're the number one team, also everybody's going to give you their best game. So it's not like you're going to be able to come into a game and, you know, cakewalk over anybody at this time of the season. You know, every game's going to go the distance.
Yeah. I'm interested to see. I know Los Fresnos was the champion in 32. I know Vela was the champion in 31. Mac High was the champion in 30. Who was the champion in 29? And did they make it through? Let's see. I think it was. Yeah. Was it Alexander?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, Alexander was. So all four champions made it through the first. All four district champions made it through the first round as well. Meanwhile, in 5A area, you've got Pioneer taking on Corpus Christi Veterans. You've got Valley View taking on Corpus Christi King. You've got Sherryland taking on Cal Allen. And you've got Rio Grande City taking on Carroll. Now, that is a little more what we're used to, right? Mm-hmm. Because that is 4 teams from one district taking on 4 teams from the other district. 31 5A dominated 32 5A, knocked all 4 of them out. Pioneer, Valley View, Sherryland, and Rio Grande City go on. And all 4 of the 29s, Vets, King, Cal Allen, and Carroll defeated all of the 28s as well. So that's going to be interesting. Sherryland, Cal Allen's always fun. You know, Coach Bickerton knows what he's getting into when he takes on the Wildcats. But how about what Casey Smith has done at Pioneer in the span of what now? Just 2 years?
No, 1 year. 1 year. First year.
First year. Leaves for Mission Veterans, goes over to Pioneer, and he's got the Diamondbacks on top over there in District 31 5A. That's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, and you know, but the thing is, that district's pretty brutal. I mean, you know, you play a lot of tough teams, and then you know when you get into the playoffs, you know you're gonna face some tough competition in 32, but then the next round is even worse. So, yeah.
By the way, I misspoke. Pioneer finished 4th in that district. Like you said, that's an incredibly tough district. Valley View won that district.
Yeah,
and then so let's see, Sherryland came in 2nd. And Rio Grande City came in 3rd. Yeah, that was a very, very tough district, that 31 5A district. So we'll see what they can do. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, this is Corpus Christi Veterans, pretty good team. Cal Allen, they're the champion from that district, and looks like Carroll's the fourth place team out of that district, but they took on the winner, Uvalde of District 29. What do you think? How do you think will fare Valley teams up against Corpus Christi teams in the 5A round?
It's going to be difficult. We didn't have the traditional powers that we had in the 5As this year, but I think we'll give them a run. I don't know. Corpus always loads up. They're always loaded, so it's very difficult to beat them.
Yeah, extremely difficult to beat them. But no other Valley teams made it into the second round. No 4A teams, no 3A teams, no 2A teams. So that means we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams left in the area round of high school baseball.
Yeah.
Hey,
talk to me.
Let's finish up with a little MLB, because what everybody expects the Astros to do well this year, right? Because they won the World Series last year. But what I don't think anybody expected was for their pitching staff to be like the greatest pitching staff that has ever been put together in MLB.
Clay, come back, Clay. Well, it looks like we lost Clay, and now I'm all here by myself. Clay, baby, come back. All right, we're going to just give it 1 second, see if Clay comes back on. If not, I'll just look like an idiot real quick for a few minutes. All right, his phone probably died. All right, well, we're going to cut the show short. We're going to talk some football. The next show, we're going to have our 95.6 football preview. And if you haven't seen it, you'll have to see some of the shots we'll put up next week and on this Facebook page. But we'll be talking football, our football preview, spring football, all that good stuff. By the way, some interesting things are going to be coming your way in the fall. So we'll be back next week, on tomorrow, talking football. But we'll see you tomorrow.